Hey guys, welcome back to another FPL video. Before I start the video, I just want to request you to like, share, comment and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get straight into it. My rank is currently 20k in the world and this is my free hit 34 draft. I personally am not on free hit 34, but if I were on free hit 34, this would be my draft. So now if you look at the core idea of this team, main thing, let's look at the stats. If you look at the projected goals, the top four attacks are Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United, and Spurs. Liverpool 2.17 goals, Arsenal 2.14 expected goals, United 1.85 expected goals, and Spurs 1.80 expected goals. And then if you look at the clean sheet odds, once again, the top four teams are these four teams: Arsenal 37% clean sheet odds, Liverpool 35%, Spurs 24%, and Manchester United 27%. So instantly, the entire strategy is just built around these four teams: Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs, and Manchester United. I don't think you should try to outsmart the game this week. Just follow where the points are most likely to come from. So now if we start from the goalkeeper, I've gone for Robin Roves. You could go for David Raya, but I've gone a little bit differential because I see a higher ceiling in that fixture. This week it's not about spending money on a goalkeeper. It's about putting as much budget as possible into the midfield and attack. As long as Robin Rose gets a few saves, maybe if he keeps a clean sheet, then he could actually get a massive haul with bonus points as well. So yeah, I would target Robin Rose. You could go for David Raya, but the money is a bit tight on this draft. I myself, who has such a good squad value, I'm just left with 1.9 million. I will come to the bench later, but yeah, so your free hit is not won by a goalkeeper, it's won by midfielders and attackers. So yeah, we'll talk about that. If you come to the defense, if you look at the structure, you should not experiment. You should just target the three teams with the highest odds and the best defenders, which is Arsenal, Liverpool, and Spurs. Yeah, it's Spurs, but we'll talk about it. So from Arsenal, it's obviously Gabriel. Gabriel versus Newcastle at home. Arsenal have the highest clean sheet odds this week at 37%, and Newcastle are sitting at just 0.99 projected goals, which is one of the lowest. So purely from a defensive standpoint, this is the best fixture. But with Gabriel, it's not just clean sheet, as we all know. He's always a threat from set pieces. So you're not just hoping for 6 points with Gabriel, you're playing for 10 plus. When we come to Virgil van Dijk, Van Dijk is versus Crystal Palace at home. Liverpool, as I said, 2.17 expected goals and 35% clean sheet odds. So once again, one of the best fixtures on paper. But what makes Van Dijk really interesting is his output. Recent output, should I say. 3 goals in his last 8 game weeks. Constant bonus points. So basically, he's giving you striker level upside from defense, and in a free hit, that's exactly what you want. When you come to a last defender, which is Pedro Porro, he's playing Wolves away. Spurs have 34% clean sheet odds, and Wolves are at just 1.08 projected goals. But the reason you pick Porro is not just for the clean sheets. He plays like a winger. He's on set pieces, he's taking shots, he's making attacking runs. So he can even give you points even if Spurs concede. And that's why he's almost essential this week, especially considering the fact that Wolves have already been relegated and Spurs have everything to fight for because they don't want to get relegated. Now we come to the midfield, which is the heart of the team and which is where I've spent my most money. So the first and the most obvious pick and the captain, Bruno Fernandes. Bruno versus Brentford at home. United have 1.85 projected goals and everything goes through Bruno. And when you look at the numbers, 7 assists in the last 6, top 4 chances created, highest expected assists, and he is chasing the all-time assist record. So he's definitely motivated and he will definitely get that. At home, he averages nearly 7 points per game, and he's basically involved in everything United do. So for me, this is not even a debate. He's the best captain of this week, so he obviously has to be in your team. When we come to Salah, we'll talk about words a bit later. When we come to Salah, this is an emotional pick, to be very honest. This is probably the last time we will own him this season, and the only reason we can afford him right now is because it's a free hit. Haaland is not in the picture, so suddenly all that budget opens up. And when you combine that with Liverpool having 2.17 projected goals, the highest this week, it just makes sense. But beyond the stats, this is also a bit emotional. You don't get many chances to go back to Salah when he's not in your regular team. So if there's one week to do it, it's this. If you are highly ranked chasing and you want to go differential, who's saying no to a Salah captain as well? When we come to Declan Rice versus Newcastle at home, as I said, Arsenal have 2.14 projected goals, second highest this week, and Newcastle defensively have been struggling. Injuries, suspensions, instability, and Rice now is not just sitting deep anymore. He's getting forward and arriving in the box. So when you're getting a player from one of the best attacking teams this week with added upside, it's just a no-brainer. And yes, I said Arsenal are one of the best attacking teams. They aren't, but based on stats, they are. And if you look at it, when Odegaard plays, Rice is allowed to run a bit forward and we all know Arsenal strategy. They rely on set pieces, and Rice is the main set piece taker. And we don't have any other Arsenal attacker to pick. So I genuinely think Rice is a very good pick, unless you want to triple up on that defense, which might be a bit too risky, especially considering that there is no Timber and Calafiori to pick. When we come to Mateus Cunha, I don't think Brian Mbeumo is totally fit. Amad Diallo is not an exciting pick, and Sheshko is not guaranteed to start. So alongside Bruno, Cunha is the best pick, and I think we should double up on Manchester United and Liverpool attacks. So Mateus Cunha, this is the form pick. He has written in 4 of his last 6 game weeks, and he's consistently involved in everything going forward. And the interesting thing is that he hasn't had a big explosive haul yet. So it feels like it's coming, especially those who watch Manchester United matches, they would know. This is one of those picks where you just trust the trend. Now, the final midfield spot, it comes down to the second Liverpool attacker. I don't think you should go on Xavi Simons or anybody like that. Maybe an Everton attacker. I'm just not feeling it. I think we should double up on Liverpool attack. So that leaves you with 3 spots, which is Florian Wirtz, Jordi Gakpo, and Dominic Soboslai. I have decided to go with Florian Wirtz, but I will explain why. The pros and cons for each and one of them. So Florian Wirtz, he's safe plus creative. So Wirtz is more of a control pick. Somebody at my rank, that would make more sense. He's involved in the build up and creating chances, so he gives you steady returns. When it comes to Cody Gakpo, he is explosive. He's more direct. He's more likely to score big. So if you're chasing rank, he's the pick. Cody Gakpo, even if he starts on the left, we all know Isaac won't be able to play 90 minutes. So for the last 20, 25, 30 minutes, even he will play as a striker. So he definitely feels like the ceiling pick. And Soboslai is somewhere in between. He's written in 4 of his last 5 game weeks, but he's consistent, not explosive. So maybe a boring, dull pick. You could go that. If Salah is substituted, then he could take penalties. People are saying that in the Champions League match, when they were given the penalty against PSG, which was eventually overturned, it was Soboslai who was holding the ball and ready to take the penalty, and Salah was not even in the picture. So even if Salah starts, Soboslai might be on pens, which is some food for thought. I personally, as I said, will be leaning towards words, but honestly, you can go with any one of these three depending upon your style. When we come to the forwards, first, Bowen versus Everton at home, the most obvious essential pick. He's just one of those players who keeps on delivering. 8 goals, 10 assists, 23 bonus points. And even when West Ham aren't that great, he still finds a way. Very reliable pick. Now, the interesting pick, Dominic Soboslai. Given the fact that I have not gone for Xavi, and given the fact that the storyline around Spurs and a lot of teams have triple up on Spurs, I think Solanke was the obvious pick. So this is purely a fixture-based pick. Wolves are relegated; they're defensively weak, and in these kinds of weeks, you target teams that have nothing to play for. This is a classic FPL free hit hash ceiling punt, and by nothing to play for, I mean for Wolves because they're relegated. Spurs, as I said, they have everything to play for. They need to avoid getting relegated no matter what. So this is my team. I think the defense picks itself, the forwards picks itself. It's just the second Liverpool attack or the fifth midfielder spot, which you could debate between Wirtz, Gakpo, and Soboslai depending upon your style. I've gone for Rovs instead of Raya because I wanted a little bit differential while being safe and chasing the ceiling. And I don't think there's anything else to debate about. You could go for an Everton attacker or maybe 4 defenders or third forward if you want to go Igor Thiago. I just don't feel it. On the bench, sorry, I've just gone for the cheapest players who will play. So like some points, but they're the cheapest because I myself have a very high squad value. But if you look at it, I am just left with 1.9 million in the bank. So I've gone for the cheapest bench, which will allow a lot of people, a majority of the people, to build this team. If you have money, if you want to upgrade one of these bench players, you could. If you don't have money and if you have to make some changes in the 11, you could do that. You could change the Liverpool midfield spot. The cost of the 3 midfielders is different. You would go for an Everton midfielder if it feels like you need the money. And yeah, that's that. I think the biggest mistake people make in FPL is thinking they need to be differential to gain rank. You don't, you just need to be right. And this week, the data is very clear. Target the right teams, trust the numbers, and don't overthink it. Let me know your free hit drafts in the comments. And yeah, good luck for game week 34.